Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness review. Now, I'm gonna say this before I even start the video, okay? This is gonna be a spoiler review, okay? So if you don't want spoilers and you don't want this movie spoiled, don't watch this video. But if you have seen the movie, or if you're just, a slave to the Disney and Marvel Corporation and need to know what happens in the MCU, I encourage you to please continue to watch. So, Doctor Strange, did I like it? Did I not like it? Well, it's complicated. You see, so I went into this movie having pretty low expectations, and no, it's not because I don't like Marvel movies. I do like Marvel movies, okay? It's just because of two things. Number one, I had already recently seen a Multiverse movie, which was fucking phenomenal, and I knew that this movie probably wasn't going to be as good as that one. And number two, because at least for me, Marvel movies either tend to be one of two things. Either Marvel makes movies that are, good, fun, solid, adventurous, silly movies, or movies that make me want to gouge my eyeballs out. And it's weird to me because this movie somehow didn't fall into either category, because this movie somehow simultaneously fell into both categories at once. The first half of this movie did indeed make me want to gouge my eyeballs out with a fucking knife. However, the second half of this movie, I actually found myself enjoying the movie and having a good time. Okay, let's just get into talking about the actual movie now. So the movie opens up with Doctor Strange, but wait, it's not Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange is wearing a man bun, and Doctor Strange would never wear a man bun, so we know that this Doctor Strange is actually not the Doctor Strange from our universe, so that this Doctor Strange has to be another Doctor Strange from the other universe because he's wearing a man bun. Anyways, he fucking dies. So then we get this scene where Doctor Strange is in a church, and I will give the first half of the movie one thing, and that one thing is that this scene where Doctor Strange is in a church is honestly fucking fantastic, because first off, Doctor Strange is at a church, and we're sitting there questioning, why the fuck is Doctor Strange at a church? I mean, did he somehow find Christ in the 5 years where he was literally turned to fucking dust? And then, as we're questioning this, some guy turns to him and he's like, hey man, was wiping out half of the universe for 5 years really the only option we had? Because, I was fucking dead for 5 years. I couldn't see my family for 5 years. My fucking cat died because I couldn't feed it. And I just thought this was such a cool question to ask in this movie, because, first off, I never really gave a shit about the actual, people living in the Marvel universe, not the actual superheroes, just the average citizen in the Marvel universe. And I'm sure a lot of them are asking, was wiping out half of the universe and having their loved ones dead for 5 years really the only option they had against Thanos? And the second reason why this is such a cool question to ask is because it really allows us to understand what Strange has been thinking, for the past 5 years, because no one could possibly understand what it's like to look at millions and millions of different scenarios and outcomes, and there be only one option in one scenario where we end up beating Thanos. And yes, the option involved wiping out half of the universe for 5 years. Anyways, after this guy next to Strange is done complaining about his dumb dead cat or whatever, somehow, after this very interesting question is asked, this scene gets even better. And I'm not sure why they decided to make this scene so good, yet some of the other scenes so bad in this movie. But somehow this scene gets even better, because we realize that no, Doctor Strange is not at, Bible study. He's actually at a wedding, and he's at Christine's wedding. Except he's not the one marrying Christine. Some random guy is marrying Christine. And this scene was such a great way to set up the movie, because it really allows us to understand everything we need to know about this movie and everything we need to know about Doctor Strange, and it does it in an extremely interesting way. Number one, this scene allows us to understand that Doctor Strange didn't get Christine because of how hard he's been working to, save the universe for the past 10, 15 years. I don't know how long Doctor Strange has been. Don't flame me, fucking Marvel fuckboys. And the second thing that this scene shows us is that even though Strange, gave up Christine to save the universe, he still cares enough to go to her wedding and still support her. And I gotta admit, okay, after this scene, I thought this scene was so good that I thought that this movie was going to be Sam Raimi's redemption for Spider-Man 3. My dumbass was really sitting in the movie theater thinking that this was going to be the redemption for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, and I was about to witness one of the best Marvel movies that I have ever seen in my entire life, if not the best Marvel movie. Guess what? It was not. No, it was not. Because after this scene, the movie goes downhill. And I don't mean like slightly downhill, like a little, like a little slope you go on with a skateboard. I mean straight fucking down to the depths of hell. So during this wedding scene, some monsters start attacking the city, and we get the classic Sam Raimi, oh my god, look, it's Spider-Man scene. You know what I'm talking about, where people are looking at Doctor Strange fuck up all these monsters and whatever. And Doctor Strange is going out and he's fighting all these monsters and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Wong is there, he helps Strange and blah, 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 blah. But during the fight scene, we get introduced to a new member of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a new character in the Marvel Universe, a character every single Marvel fuckboy in his basement was absolutely hyped for. That's right, America Chavez. And for those of you who haven't seen the movie, yes, I know it sounds like I'm just trying to be funny and I'm trying to make this up, but no, her name somehow is actually America Chavez. And a good reason why, at least for me, the first half of this movie was so horrendously bad is because, and I'm not exaggerating here or trying to be funny, America Chavez is one of the most boring and dull characters in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Actually, I don't even want to say in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because most of the characters, if not all of the characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, are actually very enjoyable and very entertaining to watch. So I'm just going to say that America Chavez is one of the most boring characters I have ever seen in any movie that I have ever watched in my entire life. And a good reason why I felt completely emotionally unattached from this character has to be because this movie has a pacing issue. You see, this movie, at least the first half of this movie, moves faster than my schizophrenic cousin on Adderall. I mean, seriously, we go from Christine's wedding to Doctor Strange fighting these multi-dimensional monsters, to him then meeting America Chavez, to him then realizing that these multi-dimensional monsters aren't actually multi-dimensional monsters and they're actually monsters spawned from witchcraft, to him then meeting up with Wanda, who we then learn is the actual villain of this movie and has been controlling all of these monsters to steal America Chavez's power so that she can meet up and reunite with her fake children in the span of about 5 minutes. Originally, this movie had a cut that was like 40 minutes longer, and honestly, this movie really could benefit from an additional 40 minutes. I mean, I honestly don't know why they didn't add the 40 minutes. I mean, I know the movie's already 2 hours and you don't want to make a 2 hour and 40-minute movie, but I mean, The Batman was just released a couple months ago, and I mean, that movie's like 3 hours long, and it did amazing critically and box officely, if that's even a word. I don't know. But without these 40 minutes, we really get no time to develop a solid relationship between Strange and America, because the only thing we really get in the first half of this movie is a conversation between America Chavez and Doctor Strange where, and I'm not making this up, America asks Doctor Strange if Spider-Man shoots webs out of his butt. Now, if you're a 5-year-old, that might have been funny, and you may have laughed at that, but I was sitting in the theater wanting to commit suicide. But we'll get more into her and the bad parts about this movie a little bit later, because I need to talk about some of the good aspects of this movie, okay? Because one thing I did like about this movie, even though a lot of people are complaining about it, is the villain of this movie. Listen, did they do an absolutely amazing job as setting up Wanda as the villain of this movie? No, I don't think so. And I get we had an entire show of WandaVision where, she was controlling innocent people's minds so that she could live a fantasy life with her dead husband. And I get it, okay? I understand that we had this show to, really show that Wanda is capable of doing absolutely absurd and crazy things for her children, But listen, okay, and this might just be me, but I think there's a kind of a big difference from, just controlling people's minds, given that, they are innocent people, but I think there's a pretty big leap from just controlling innocent people's minds to, fucking murdering hundreds of innocent civilians. And they rush into her killing innocent civilians pretty fast in the movie. I mean, we literally go from Doctor Strange realizing that Wanda is the actual villain of this movie and that she has been creating these monsters to steal America Chavez's powers to literally the next scene, maybe 2 scenes scenes after, Wanda murdering innocent civilians guarding the Taj Mahal, whatever the fuck it's called, Doctor Strange hidden palace resort in the mountains. Let me search it up. The Kamar Taj. Okay. I wasn't that far off, let's be honest. And I get it, okay? She wants to be with her children, and she'll do anything to be with her children, even if that's murdering hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of innocent civilians. But still, I mean, at least for me, it was a little bit rushed, and I would like to see just a little bit more of Wanda before she went completely into the dark side. I mean, we kind of have a Daenerys Targaryen situation from Game of Thrones right now. Now, all that being said, even though they rushed into Wanda being the villain and killing innocent people pretty fast, I still will take Wanda as a villain over a generic Marvel villain any day of the week. I mean, most of these Marvel movies have villains that I really could just not give one singular fuck about. So to have a villain who I actually care about in some sort of way in a Marvel movie is a huge win for Marvel. But I just think if they just spent a little bit more time on Wanda, this movie could have been so much better. Like, I seriously, I think this movie could have been one of the best Marvel movies I have ever seen. And I mean, they probably do have that in the 40-minute extended cut. And yes, I know I'm sounding like a Zack Snyder fuckboy asking, hashtag release the Snyder cut, release the Snyder cut. But let's be honest here, okay? The Snyder cut was like 500 times better than whatever Josh Whedon pussy boy could have made, okay? Well, and did make, as we all unfortunately had to watch. Anyways, I'm not gonna bore you guys or myself with the next hour of footage of this movie, and I'm just gonna talk about where the movie starts to pick up again and where it starts to get a little bit better for me, at least. And where the movie starts to get better and where it really started to pick up for me was when Wanda started fucking killing everyone. Yes, I know. Here come the comments. Bro, you just went on a whole rant talking about why Wanda shouldn't kill innocent people, and now you're thinking that it's a good thing? Come on, bro. Unsubscribe. Dislike. But listen, okay, let me just set the scene up, because I understand that I just went on this whole rant about, you know, Wanda killing innocent people and how they jump so fast, but let me just set the scene up for you guys, okay? So the whole reason why Wanda wants America Chavez's powers is because America could travel through the multiverse, and Wanda wants to steal her power and meet up with her fake children in a multiverse where she actually does have children. It's a bit complicated, I don't care. So we get to this scene where Doctor Strange and America Chavez are in a universe where there's an Illuminati, and apparently Jim from The Office is in the Illuminati, and apparently he also fights crime in his spare time, and he can also, you know, stretch pretty good to fuck Pam better. And also, oh my god, look, it's Professor X. We totally didn't see him in the trailer. We totally didn't hear his voice. Anyways, Wanda dreamwalked into this universe, and what dreamwalking is basically, actually, I'm not gonna explain that. If you really care, you can go Google it. I'm not explaining that. But she dreamwalks into this universe, and she starts fucking people up. And apparently a lot of the Marvel fanboys were pissed because, yeah, Illuminati, it's supposed to be this big thing in this comics or whatever. I don't care. I want to see Wanda, you know, tape someone's mouth shut and then blow his fucking brains out. Yeah, I know. She didn't blow his brains out. He blew his own brains out, but whatever, man. Listen, Wanda grabbing Captain Peggy Carter's shield and slicing her in half with her own shield is something that I didn't know that I needed to see, but after seeing it is something that I definitely needed to see. And honestly, after this scene, I was sitting in the theater and I was really asking myself if this was the darkest Marvel movie I had ever seen. Yes, I know in Infinity War, everybody dies and this and that, but this movie, at least the way people die in this movie, is so gruesome for a PG-13 movie. And that's one thing that this movie did absolutely extremely well. I mean, to show all these gruesome deaths back to back in a row, and then seeing Wanda walking into the whatever the room it was to fuck Christine up with literal blood coming down her face. Yes, I know it's not actual blood. It was motor oil for the movie because she just killed the Ultron robots or whatever. But I mean, still. But it's extremely impressive how much this movie was able to show and still keep a PG-13 rating. I mean, compare this to a movie like Morpheus, where we literally see absolutely nothing in most of the fight scenes. And most of the CGI fight scenes, you're sitting back in your chair and you just have no clue what is going on because of how safe they tried to play the movie. And Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is like 1,000 times better. And honestly, we're seeing a lot of movies start to do this, start like riding that, PG-13 limit and really get up to the very pinpoint of what a PG-13 movie is, like the Batman that just came out. And I mean, yes, when Batman is brutally punching a man like 50 times on the floor, do I want the camera to pan around and show a bloody pulp of a corpse? Yes, I do, but it's still able to ride that PG-13 limit by showing these shots out of focus where you can't really see everything that's happening, but you can see just enough to know, what exactly is going on. But I think this movie honestly did one of the best jobs at not playing it safe like most of these Marvel movies do, and really go for a darker tone and more gruesome tone, and it just worked out so phenomenally. And they just rode that PG-13 limit absolutely beautifully, and it made the movie so much more interesting to watch, for me at least. Someone who is an absolute psychopath and enjoys watching blood splatter across the screen. But after this scene, and no, it's not just the gruesome deaths, because the movie starts to actually get quite better after this scene. I start caring about some of the characters in the movie. I start caring about Wanda and her relationship with her children, and I think they set up that relationship pretty well. Not amazingly, but pretty well. She loses her lover with Thanos, and so she just wants to have some kind of happiness, and so she goes on this journey to find her children. And yeah, she kills a couple hundred of innocent people, but the thing that makes her stop is when her kids look at her and they're scared of her. And then what I thought was just a really good moment in the movie was when Wanda, well, not Wanda, the Wanda from the other universe who has the fake children, the real children in her universe, it's complicated. But it was such a great moment in the movie where the Scarlet Witch in our universe went over to the Wanda in the other universe and was literally about to kidnap her children, but somehow this Wanda in the other universe still sympathized with her. And she sympathized with her because when this Wanda from the other universe was looking into the eyes of the Scarlet Witch in our universe, she realized that, yes, this Scarlet Witch in our universe has done absolutely horrible things, and she was literally trying to kidnap her own children, but she also realized that she did all of this because of the love of her children. And the Wanda in the other universe realized that she absolutely would transcend the multiverse for her children, no questions asked. They just looked into each other's eyes, and both of them knew how far they were willing to go for these kids. And the thing that really got Scarlet Witch from our universe to stop was when the Wanda from the different universe told her that these kids would be loved, and she would love them with every ounce in love that she could possibly give them. I thought that was the absolute best part of the movie, but also in the second half of the movie, I started to even care about the relationship between Strange and Christine. And I really like the idea that Doctor Strange is building this relationship with this Christine from a completely different universe, and he knows that he's gonna have to go back to his universe. And in his universe, the entire relationship that he built with this Christine isn't going to last. And when he goes back to his universe, he's gonna have to go back to a different Christine who's married to some random dude. And Strange has to come to terms with the fact that it's his fault that he's not with Christine. It's because he put so much time into protecting the universe that he can't be with Christine. And I really like the difference in viewpoint between Wanda and Strange. Strange puts his work in front of him. He puts saving the universe as the #1 priority in his life, and he has to put the ones that he loves in second. Whereas Wanda is the exact opposite of Strange. She would do anything to be with her children, and obviously saving the universe comes second and murdering innocent civilians comes first. I thought it was a really nice juxtaposition, if that's even the correct thing to say here. Now, while I did like these two parts of the movie, an aspect where I really thought the movie fell short was in the utilization of Doctor Strange's powers. Personally, I really liked the first Doctor Strange. Not necessarily for the story or the plot or anything, but it was just so cool how they showed Strange's whole universe and his power and just the mindfuck that is Doctor Strange. Personally, I think Doctor Strange is one of my favorite superheroes because his powers are so unique and weird and different. I mean, look at this scene right here. I can't even explain what the fuck is going on, and I don't even know what the fuck is going on in this scene. And I mean, in No Way Home, they were able to, with the limited screen time that Strange had, make his powers weird and wacky, and I think this movie, they kind of shied away from the weird and wackiness that is Doctor Strange's powers. And I really wish that I could have saw that in this movie, because that's one of the main reasons I was so excited for this movie. Especially in a multiverse movie, I thought it would be crazy and weird, and yeah, we had that one shot where he's like dissected into like little pieces and stuff, but I mean, really, that's one of the only things we get that's like as weird and wacky as the first Doctor Strange movie. And also, another thing that I wanted a bit more of in this movie was a bit of the weird and wackiness that comes with the whole multiverse topic. And yes, I know I'm saying I want weird and wackiness in this movie, and I know that might sound counterintuitive and bad, but I mean, that's probably just because I just came from seeing Everything Everywhere All at Once, and the multiverse in that movie is probably the weird and wackiest it's ever been, ever. And maybe I shouldn't have expected the same thing in this movie, because they are two separate movies, but I just really wanted something like that. And really the only thing we get in that, in the entire like whole movie, is this scene where Doctor Strange and America are about to cross the street, and Doctor Strange starts to go when the light is green, and America is like, "No, that you're so silly. In all the other universes, red means go and green means stop." Come on, Disney. Come on, Marvel. You make movies like Guardians of the Galaxy that make me laugh my ass off for an entire 2 hours. You can do better than that, okay? But if you are someone who wants a bit more weird and wackiness from the whole multiverse topic, go watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, because not only is the movie fucking amazing, but there is so much weird and funny and silly moments. I mean, if you want to go see a universe where people have fucking hot dogs for fingers, go watch this movie. This movie really needs to be making more money than it is right now. Now, before I give my rating on this movie, obviously this movie is going to draw a whole lot of comparisons to two movies in particular, that being the one I just mentioned, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Both are multiverse movies, and obviously the other movie being Spider-Man No Way Home, both multiverse movies with Doctor Strange being in both. And I gotta admit, okay, if you came into the theater with the expectation of it being anywhere close to Spider-Man No Way Home, or if you're like brain dead and thought it was going to be anywhere near Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's just not. And I mean, those are two extremely good movies to live up to, okay? Especially with Everything Everywhere All at Once probably being the movie of the year, and Spider-Man No Way Home, in my opinion, being one of the best Marvel movies ever made, and one of the best superhero movies ever made just on top of that. So yeah, this movie isn't going to be as good as those two, but I mean, it would be pretty hard to live up to either of those two movies. So finally, my rating for Doctor Strange. And keep in mind, my ratings are a bit lower because I don't want to be like Rotten Tomatoes and give every single movie a 100%. But my final rating for Doctor Strange is a 6.5 out of 10. If you're a Marvel fan, or if you're just someone who wants to watch a movie this weekend, yeah, I recommend it. It's not going to be the best movie you've ever seen in your life, but it's going to be fun, it's going to be enjoyable, and you might laugh like once in the movie. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, 6.5 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. This is literally the first video I've uploaded to this channel, so if you leave a like and subscribe, it'll only encourage me to make more movie reviews for upcoming movies. So if you want to see my reviews for movies like Top Gun, or even shows like the new Obi-Wan series coming out pretty soon, please subscribe so you don't miss, and if you enjoyed, please subscribe so you don't miss any more of my content. And if you disagreed with anything I said, go write it down in the comments, and I'll try and respond to you best I can. But anyways, guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.